All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are opening a full dossier on Freshworks, and I'm not talking about marketing hype. We're going to do a brutal, methodical analysis to figure out if this company is a real survivor or just another ghost in the SaaS graveyard.
And we have to start with that hard truth. Because let's be honest, in an industry where revenue can be an illusion, and huge losses are just hidden by stock compensation, most SaaS companies are just glorified marketing firms. They're not durable software businesses.
That's the big question, right? That's our mission today. We need a framework, a way to cut through all the noise and find a business that's actually built on necessity, not just a slick sales pitch.
So here's how we're going to break it down. We've got 5 sections in our dossier. We're going to stress test the industry itself, the business model, the financials, the competition, and then at the very end, deliver a final verdict. Okay, let's dive into the situation on the ground. The first and maybe most important question we have to answer is this. Does Freshworks exist because customers actually need it, or is it just because their sales team is really, really good? Because if it's the latter, this analysis is over before it begins.
And it's so important we get this distinction right. Real SaaS, it becomes almost invisible. It just gets woven into the daily fabric of a business. It's not some flimsy subscription tacked onto a service, and it's definitely not some flashy AI dashboard that everyone cancels after 3 months.
So we're going to use this 4-point checklist as our guide. This is our litmus test. A legitimate SaaS business has to hit every single one of these. If even one of them fails, we're probably looking at an illusion. This is the test Freshworks has to pass. And this is where Freshworks comes in. This is their core promise. They're going right after a massive pain point in the corporate world, software that's way too complex, way too expensive, and needs a whole army of consultants just to get it working. But okay, let's cut through all the marketing speak. What does Freshworks actually sell? In plain English, it replaces email chaos. It replaces spreadsheets and all that manual coordination. It's ticketing systems, it's workflow automation. The bottom line is if you turn their software off, a company's support system completely collapses. The pain comes back immediately, and that is the sign of real durable demand.
So, the product passes our first test. It's legit. But now we get to the part where most SaaS stories just completely fall apart. The business model. Is their revenue a real compounding asset, or is it just a leaking bucket they're constantly trying to fill?
Look, we have to be really clear about this. Annual recurring revenue, or ARR, it's a promise. It's not actual cash in the bank. Now for Freshworks, that promise is over $600 million. But we need to dissect the quality of that promise. Are they just buying this growth with crazy marketing spend, or is it being earned by a product that people actually want to use?
And right away, we find our first big clue, their net revenue retention, NRR. It's not setting the world on fire. It's hovering around 108 to 110%. But the key word here is stable. This tells us customers aren't running for the exits, and the ones that stick around are actually spending a bit more over time. This is the sign of a durable business, not some hype-driven rocket that's about to burn out.
So why is it so stable? Well, it all comes down to their customer mix. Look, churn with small businesses is always going to be higher. It's just the nature of the beast. But as Freshworks nudges its customers up into the mid-market, their product gets more and more embedded, the churn drops way down, and the lifetime value of that customer just keeps getting better.
All right, let's move on to the financials of this roughly $5 billion company and see how the story builds. We're going to ignore the accounting narratives and focus on one thing and one thing only: cash reality. Is this business actually becoming profitable, or is it just getting better at explaining away its losses?
Okay, stock-based compensation. Let's talk about it. The key thing here isn't the absolute level, which, yeah, it's still high. The real story is the trend. Right after their IPO, SBC was over 30% of revenue. I mean, that's a massive red flag. But now it's trending down, heading towards the high teens. This is a critical sign of financial discipline. This is not a company that's just diluting its shareholders into oblivion. And you see that same discipline showing up in their cash flow. The business is figuring out how to grow more efficiently. It's on a very clear path from burning cash to becoming cash neutral and eventually a cash-generating machine. This is also why we look at cash from operations, not just EBITDA, because it shows you the real cash cost of that stock-based comp. This is not a zombie SaaS company that needs to keep raising money just to stay alive.
So let's pull it all together on our financial scorecard. The company passes, but it's definitely under close surveillance. Let's add some hard numbers here. Revenue has been compounding at over 35% a year for the last 3 years. That's solid. Gross margins are excellent, stable around 83%. The operating margin is still negative, yeah, but it's improving dramatically. And maybe most importantly, their cash position is strong, over $1 billion in cash and equivalents, with zero debt. The trends are all pointing in the right direction, but that discipline on stock comp, that is the one variable we have to watch like a hawk.
So, okay, the financials are getting their act together. But that leads to the really tough question. Why is Freshworks even still alive? I mean, they're in a market that is full of absolute killers like ServiceNow and Zendesk. This is the point where most mid-sized SaaS companies just die.
And here's how they do it. It's actually pretty smart. They don't try to compete where the giants are strongest. Zendesk, they win the huge enterprise deals where brand safety and compliance are everything. Freshworks wins with the customers who are just sick and tired of complexity and want software that just works right out of the box for a lower budget. They're not fighting. They're coexisting by serving different needs.
So what's their real moat? It's not some fancy patent. It's what we call soft lock-in. It's the sheer operational pain of switching. Once a company has your software running its daily workflows, holding years of customer data, ripping it out is a massive, expensive, and disruptive headache. That's their defense. And for a survivor, that's more than enough.
All right, we've stress-tested the product, we've stress-tested the business model, the financials, and the competition. We've seen exactly how they've managed to survive. So now, it is time for a final, actionable verdict.
Let's be crystal clear about something. If you're looking for a hyper-growth, get-rich-quick moonshot stock, this is not it. This is a boring survivor. It's a rational, durable business in a sector that is absolutely littered with the bodies of companies that chase growth at any cost. This is for investors who want a piece of the SaaS action but want to avoid the zombies.
So an institutional approach here wouldn't be to just go all in at once. No way. It would be to scale in based on proof. You take a base position today, and then you only add to it as the company hits these key milestones, becoming sustainably free cash flow positive, showing even more discipline on stock compensation, and eventually cleanly crossing that rule of 40.
And these are the non-negotiable kill switches. No emotion, no excuses. If that discipline on stock comp slips, you're out. If they start just buying revenue with no real payoff, you're out. Or if they make some ego-driven push into the large enterprise market where they can't win, the thesis is broken, and you sell. Following these very strict rules, this is a business I would invest in today.
And that's really the final thought here. In this post-hype era of SaaS investing, the companies that simply endure, the ones that control their costs and build a real, durable business, they're the ones that are going to generate real returns.